What is going on, everyone? This is Eric coming at you from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut, and today we are going to look at the NFL standings through Week 10. Now that the NFL regular season is officially halfway through, we can kind of get a better look on things and kind of assume, okay, this team's good, this team's not. This team's a real contender, this team is benefiting from a weaker schedule. So, without further ado, we're going to break down the divisions, and we'll start with the AFC West. Now, Kansas City is back atop this division, granted by a half game. But from what we saw from them on Sunday, this past Sunday, this team looks ready to go. Patrick Mahomes looks like he's finally back, but granted, again, it's a one-game sample size against a Las Vegas defense that isn't the best. So, it's going to be interesting, but he got Travis Kelce involved. He's consistently been getting Tyreek Hill involved in the offense. Mahomes had, I think it was a 5-touchdown performance. Much needed. Plus now Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be back soon. If not week 11, then week 12, assuming there's no setback. So the sky is the limit for Kansas City. We've seen it numerous times in the past. We're going to continue to see it again. Right behind them, we have the LA Chargers. Now, the Chargers, it's extremely unfortunate. They're trending in the wrong direction right now, specifically on the offensive side of the ball. Now, in the past 2 weeks, they barely defeated the Eagles on the road. But then they took a tough loss to the Vikings, and it's kind of confusing to me. First off, I never thought I'd be saying an AFC team played the Eagles and the Vikings the same year, but that's neither here nor there, thanks week 18. But, the Chargers offense has been extremely inconsistent, and it's frustrating if you're a Chargers fan. So, it's just, I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on with this Chargers offense. I know Herbert's playing a little hurt, but, this offense was clicking so much early in the season. I guess the sophomore slump has gotten to Justin Herbert. Third place, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, the Raiders were playing the Chiefs for the AFC West title, at least for the time being, and obviously the Chiefs went in there with more to prove, and they proved it. But the Raiders still have a lot of positives going for them. While they may be trending in the somewhat wrong direction, they still have a strong offense. Granted, not the best right now. It's been a little iffy. But the defense definitely has its problems. So we're going to have to see what happens with the Raiders. But I don't have high hopes for the Raiders from here on out. Last place, we have the Denver Broncos. This team, I have no idea what to say. You went into Dallas and you beat down the Cowboys before the Cowboys scored a pair of late touchdowns. But you beat down the Cowboys, and then the Eagles come to town and demolish you. I just don't know what to say. Teddy Bridgewater is the team's quarterback, though. I know there's that whole thing with how he basically didn't want to tackle Darius Slay on the fumble recovery. It's neither here nor there, but the Broncos, this offense is too good to be this bad. I think they have to go with a quarterback in this upcoming draft. Although it's kind of a bad draft to have to get a quarterback in, trust me. But we'll have to see. And the defense, it's missing Von Miller. Next we go to the AFC South. Tennessee is running away with this division right now. And this is despite the fact that they still don't have Derrick Henry, obviously. But the Titans, they're accommodating. They're working without Derrick Henry. And it's really difficult for them. But they're a hot team right now. And it's just, they're good. They're good. The offense definitely feels different without Derrick Henry out there, but they still have Tannehill. They still have an elite receiving core. Granted, Josh Reynolds is gone, but who really cares about Josh Reynolds at this point? Am I right? He's not that great. He wasn't that good in Tennessee. Then you have Indianapolis. Indianapolis has been trending in the correct direction now. Carson Wentz took some heat for basically saying, if my wife's in labor, I'm going to play. He's a football player. You got to give him a break, He knows what he wants to do. He wants to play football. He already witnessed the birth of his first child, so it's not the same thing. Granted, I'm not a father, but you guys need to give Wentz a break. He wants to play. And now there's still fans saying he should be benched to save yourself from giving up a first-round pick. That's a joke. That's a joke. That's just pathetic. I'm sorry. Outside of that whole situation, though, Jonathan Taylor has probably been the best running back in football since Derrick Henry went down. He's arguably the best running back right now in the game, again, since Derrick Henry's out. So, it's kind of crazy. Hopefully, he can continue to keep the pace. Jacksonville, you guys got your second win this season, so there's that going for you. But in all seriousness, the Jaguars still have their problems. Trevor Lawrence has been struggling as a rookie so far. The team definitely misses Travis Etienne, but James Robinson is still proven to be a solid back. Granted, he did miss a game with, I believe it was a calf injury, so never good. Never good at all. But the Jaguars, there's still some hope for them. But they got to address a lot of problems. Last place, we have the Houston Texans. Is anyone surprised Houston's in last? The Texans we knew they were going to stink. Now that Tyrod Taylor is back, they're at least playing a little bit more competitively, but they still stink. There's nothing more I can say about them. It's not even like you have a talented young core that's just dropping passes and overthrowing receivers and missing tackles and all that. It's a rebuild year, simple as that. Next, we go to the AFC North. The Baltimore Ravens are in first place in this division, and Baltimore has been playing very good this year. Now, Lamar Jackson, he's been playing like an MVP this year. He is doing everything. He's throwing better than he did in 2019. He's still running at a high level. So I love what Lamar Jackson is doing for this team. And I'm not going to say a certain 2-word title that starts with an S and, ends with an O, because I typically jinx teams when I say that word. So I think that this team has a lot of potential, though. Baltimore, the defense is starting to play. The secondary is starting to somewhat turn it around. They still have their problems, but the line's starting to turn it around. So Baltimore has a lot of hope. They had a tough loss to the Dolphins on Thursday, but you're always going to lose some games. Pittsburgh, that ugly 1 behind the 3 came from tying the Detroit Lions. This is the same team that tied the previously winless Cleveland Browns back in 2018. It's sad. I don't know what Pittsburgh's doing. Najee Harris went out after the game and said, I didn't know you could tie in the NFL. Brought flashbacks when McNabb said that after the Eagles tied with the Bengals, and I think that was 2007. But, I don't know what's wrong with Pittsburgh. They didn't have Roethlisberger due to a certain viral illness protocol, but you shouldn't be tying the previously winless Detroit Lions. Simple as that. You guys have a lot of problems. Yes, you're 5-3. If Roethlisberger plays, maybe you get the win. But you have too much talent on that offense to tie the Detroit Lions. And we'll get to Detroit in a minute. Cincinnati's been kind of trending in the wrong direction. Now, Joe Burrow's still been doing pretty good as a quarterback. Joe Mixon's been doing pretty good as a running back. Jamar Chase has kind of cooled off a little bit, but still, he's doing good. So this team has a young, talented nucleus. They still need some offensive line help, because otherwise you're going to end up seeing Burrow go back on the IR, which is obviously something that no one wants to see. He's a superstar in the making, fingers crossed. So you just got to figure out what's going on. You got to fix that line next year. There is no denying that. Jamar, I was one of the many people who criticized you for picking Jamar Chase, and obviously it's way too soon to say we were wrong, but I think this team would be a lot better if they had Penei Sewell. Granted, again, Jamar Chase is having a great year. Defensively, this team needs some new playmakers. Cleveland sits in last place, so there's a lot of people who are calling for Baker Mayfield to be benched. And there's no better option on the team. There's no better option in free agency. What are you going to do? Try to get someone like, I don't even know, Josh McCown to come out of retirement and play for you? What are you going to do with him? Colin Kaepernick? Maybe. I could see Kaepernick playing for this team. But at the same time, he hasn't played professional football since, 2017, 2018? So he's going to have a lot of rust. You're going to have to teach him your system. And your system doesn't really utilize his skill set as a runner. He likes to run, I should say. So I don't see it. Quarterback controversy aside in Cleveland, the Odell Beckham Jr. controversy is also still looming. I just don't understand what's going on with this. Odell Beckham Jr.'s dad posts videos complaining about how Baker doesn't throw him the ball. It's now he's gone. Now he's a Ram. Good riddance. Wash your hands of him. You made the mistake of trading for him. He was a bit of a headache for you. Obviously, he's not a great player to have in your locker room, especially when you're a young team. Wash your hands, rid yourself of the mistake, and call it a day. AFC East has Buffalo in the lead. Now, the Buffalo Bills have been a very good team this year. Josh Allen is having a great year as a quarterback for the team, and that's kind of expected. Josh Allen is one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Thus, he should be one of the better quarterbacks in the league. He's having a roughly identical season to what he had last year. Granted, a little bit worse, but very good year from him. The defense, that run defense is among the best in the league, outside of probably Tampa Bay. So, you're not going to be able to run on them. Now, their running attack has taken a hit in the previous few weeks, so I can't praise that right now. But at least the passing attack is still going. Granted, Emmanuel Sanders has been kind of kept off the board recently, but at least you still have a talented team. New England. I love Mac Jones as a player. If I would have done like pre-draft videos, I probably would have been skeptical about Mac Jones, but I would have raved about him. I love what he does. He's a pure pocket passer, and we are seeing that now. He's not taking stupid risks, but he's managing the ball. I'm not going to dare compare him to the previous New England quarterback from 2001 until 2019, but he does give me some vibes. He's not the same player. But you know what I mean. I just love what Mac Jones can do. He looks like he's going to be the guy that breaks the streak of Alabama quarterbacks struggling in the NFL. So, fingers crossed. The defense, I'd love to see them with Stephon Gilmore, but Belichick doesn't like players who want money, so it makes sense that he's gone. Outside of that, New England, I'd be curious to see how this team would do if N'Keal Harry was actually playing up to his potential. And if James White was healthy. Miami's turning it around. Miami is turning it around. Tua has been playing hurt recently. Jacoby Brissett got hurt, so the quarterback room is a bit of a question mark at this point. I don't know who's going to start week 11 for them, but the Dolphins are definitely one of the better teams in the league right now in the past 2 weeks. And it's good. They needed it. They needed to turn it around. Their defense had a very good showing against the Ravens. I wasn't expecting that. Tua's doing good. So this team, there's still some question marks, but they are starting to right the ship. Then you have the New York Jets. Is Mike White really the answer at quarterback? We've seen a good game from him. We saw a good game from him. It's kind of crazy to me. Zach Wilson's still out. He's definitely the quarterback of the future, at least for now. Mike White, though, who knows what's going to happen? Now you have Flacco as the backup. I don't think Flacco's going to play much this year. I think they're impressed enough with White. I think they would, not do the trade to get Flacco if they knew how good White was going to be, but can't blame them. Defense is still playing better than expected, so I can't say they're playing over their heads at this point because they're continuing to play good football. So I'm excited to see what happens when they eventually play the Eagles. Simple as that. Now we go to the NFC. We'll start with the NFC West with Arizona leading the way. The Cardinals are one of the better teams in the league, and it's not too surprising when you think about it. Kyler Murray has been one of the better quarterbacks. Granted, he didn't play these past 2 weeks due to an injury, so that's never good. Obviously, Kyler is one of the better quarterbacks in the game, and Arizona has struggled without him. Colt McCoy's been adequate, but he's not who you want heading this, leading this offense. The receiving core has taken a step back with him, Colt McCoy, but that's expected. The running game is still there, so there's still potential. The defense is still there. Once Kyler's back and healthy, Arizona's going to be a happy team. Then you have the Rams. The Rams have been trending in the wrong direction. They were just humiliated by the 49ers last night. Now they have Odell Beckham Jr., now they have Von Miller. They're trying to build a super team in the NFL, and unfortunately, super teams in the NFL don't work. I don't know what it is. This isn't basketball. You can't build a super team. It doesn't work. It's weird to say it, but we've seen it multiple times. Early 2010s Eagles tried to build a super team. It failed. Unless your name is Tom Brady, you can't build a super team. Unfortunately, Matthew Stafford had a bit of a rough start to the game yesterday. Stafford's been kind of trending in the wrong direction, but Cooper Kupp is still a wide receiver 1, it looks like. Robert Woods done for the year, unfortunately, torn ACL, so that definitely hurts them. But we'll have to see what happens. I would have liked to see them get Josh Reynolds back, but they didn't even get a chance to get him. So, yeah. And then you have San Francisco. San Francisco, like I said, just humiliated the Rams on Monday night. I wasn't expecting that, so you got to give credit where credit is due. 49ers, you still have the quarterback situation that you got to figure out, but you're still a very talented team that I'm a fan of to an extent. The defense is there. You have the defensive line in particular that can stand up. So there's a lot of positives for San Francisco, but you're probably still a year out from contention. Seattle, all right, Russell Wilson did come back, but he didn't score any points in the past 2 weeks. The team was shut out for the first time in Wilson's tenure as a quarterback on Sunday against the Packers. A little concerning, but again, there's rust. They still don't have Chris Carson, who should be back, if not Week 11, Week 12. So we'll have to see what happens with that. If you're a Seahawks fan, you're hoping. If you're a rest of the league fan, you're probably not. But this defense, Swiss cheese to an extent. Then you have the NFC South. Tampa Bay leads the way. Not too surprising. The Buccaneers, when you have Brady as your quarterback, you're going to be good. And it pains me to say that, but it's the truth. The Buccaneers are ready to go. Vita Vea did get hurt. Hopefully, he'll only have to miss a couple of games, but, it's a painful loss there. Your offense is still among the best. You have so many mouths to feed. It's impossible to stop that offense from, getting points on you. But if Vita Vea's out, it just hurts the defense. This defense is already limping in the secondary in particular, so not good. New Orleans, the Saints definitely miss Drew Brees. But now Jameis Winston's out, so it's a brutal situation for the Saints. You went from having essentially a decade and a half consistency with Brees to having Jameis Winston for half a season, then he got hurt. So it's a tough loss for them, but at least they're keeping games close. Alvin Kamara didn't play on Sunday. They still kept the game close. Hopefully Kamara can be back soon, and it sounds like he should be, so fingers crossed. Carolina has missed Christian McCaffrey. They had missed Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey's back. This team is playing respectable football again. CMC is among the league's most exciting players to watch. He's the best pass-catching running back in the league. Maybe James White can challenge him for that, but unfortunately White's done for the year anyway. So I love what Carolina's doing on offense. Now you brought Cam Newton back. Oh my goodness. If you can get 2015 Cam Newton going, which probably won't happen, you'll probably get a mix, but if you can get Super Cam back, oh man, the NFL has to watch out for you guys. Simple as that. Cam Newton, obviously, the very first touchdown since his rejoining of the Panthers was him running for 1.5 yards, 2 yards. Very exciting to see Cam Newton back. Hopefully this can continue. Last place, we have the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, it's not surprising Atlanta's in last. This is a team that, it's weird. If they win a good competitive game. If they lose, they get their butts kicked. We saw it in week 1. And now Dallas joined the party, really just destroying the Falcons, demolishing any chance of anything that the Falcons fans felt. And it's kind of sad to see. This offense definitely misses Calvin Ridley, who's still on leave. So at least Kyle Pitts is starting to step up, but now Matt Ryan is kind of struggling. You have to wonder if his hand injury is still hurting him or if, it's something else, like his age is starting to catch up with him. Then we have the NFC North. And right now, I'd say the Super Bowl frontrunners are the Green Bay Packers. Now, Green Bay did have an interesting Week 9. Aaron Rodgers couldn't play due to a certain viral illness. So that was a bit of a controversy. We found out that he is not, he doesn't have something that most NFL players have, and he kind of hinted that he has it when he said he has, natural immunity. But it is what it is. So he came back, and he looked sluggish to start the game before having a couple of touchdown drives late in the game against Seattle. So it's definitely an interesting situation in Green Bay. I would say they are Super Bowl favorites right now, and I'm using that word unlike I did for Baltimore because I don't care if I jinx Green Bay. So we'll have to see what happens with the Packers. The defense showed up in Lambeau. That's why you hate to have a game in Lambeau scheduled past November. Then you have the Minnesota Vikings. So outside of Green Bay, this division's all below 500. Minnesota is a decent team. They play competitive football, but there's not much more I can really say about them. Kirk Cousins is definitely playing his last swan song in Minnesota, at least. I don't think they want him anymore. I think they're kind of like, all right, we made a mistake giving him this big deal. We weren't ready to compete. We didn't need to give him that deal. It is what it is. You live and you learn. Fully guaranteed contract. Probably won't be doing that for a while. The Vikings defense is okay, but right now Mike Zimmer's seat has to be warm. Chicago, I mean, you guys wanted Justin Fields to play, and he's been okay. He's still a rookie. Some people have started calling him bustin' because he's a bust. I'm like, it's way too soon to say that. You can't call a player a bust through not even a single season. Like, come on. It's ridiculous. Fields still has a lot of potential, and I'm not a fan of Ohio State. So for me to defend an Ohio State player tells you something's up. So I'm just not a big fan of what Chicago's been doing outside of that. Khalil Mack's been doing good, but maybe they should have traded him to the Raiders this offseason like the Raiders wanted. Could have gotten some assets for him. It's brutal, but then we have the Detroit Lions. Hey, Detroit! How does it feel to not take a loss on Sunday? Yeah, you didn't get the win either, but took a tie. And at least you're not going to go 0-17. You could still go 0-16-1, but you're not going to go 0-17. So there's that, and you did it against a respectable team in Pittsburgh. So I don't know what's going on in Detroit. There's still a lot of problems. Obviously, Jared Goff is not the answer at quarterback. The Rams fleeced Detroit by giving them Goff's horrible contract. I think the Lions might be stuck with Goff for one more year. I have to look at the contract itself, but Jared Goff stinks. Simple as that. It's going to be interesting, though, to see what happens with Josh Reynolds. Lastly, we have the NFC East with the Dallas Cowboys leading the way. And Dallas, like Green Bay, is a Super Bowl frontrunner. Dak Prescott has been nothing short of elite when he plays. And it's good to see because he, obviously last year, his season ended early with a broken ankle. But as an Eagles fan, you hate to see it. The offensive line is still playing well. Zeke is still feasting, whatever you want to say. So the Cowboys have a heck of a lot of potential right now. Defensively, there's still some concerns, but it is what it is. Philadelphia sits in second place. You know, you played the Chargers very well. You know, were it not for Jalen Hurts overthrowing simple passes, you would probably be on a 3-game winning streak. But I'm not sold on Jalen Hurts. Simple as that. He can run, but he can't pass to save his life. And the way the offense is set up, you need a passer. So, yeah. But, you know, the defense definitely misses Brandon Graham. And then this past game against Denver, towards the end of the game, was a bit brutal. You had a couple players all go down. You saw the Eagles lose Dallas Goedert early in the game. And then they lost a pair of linemen in Landon Dickerson and Jason Kelce. Fortunately, Kelce was able to return to the game, but Dickerson was not. You could only hope for Kelce's sake that it was the high altitude in Denver, but you never know. So fingers crossed that's the case. Fingers crossed Dickerson's able to come back because the Eagles can't afford another injury on the offensive line. Then you have Washington. Washington pulled a very surprising upset over Tampa Bay this past week. Got to give them credit, but it did come at a cost. They did lose Chase Young for the year to a torn ACL. Never a positive sign. You got to hope that Chase Young comes back. He is a superstar in the league. He's been having a rough year this year. So maybe Washington's kind of like, all right, this sucks, but now we can just focus on rehabbing. So Washington, it really stinks. It sounds like Fitzpatrick's done for the year too, which no one thought would happen when he got hurt early in game 1. So it stinks, but unfortunately, Fitzpatrick, his career might be over. Last place, we have the New York Giants. New York has just been an injured reserve list would be the better thing to say. So it stinks that they're here, but the team has a lot of issues. They got to fix their receiving core in particular. I don't know if Daniel Jones is the answer. He's been very inconsistent this year. This was his year to prove it. He hasn't proven it, so yeah. Now we have the bye weeks. So week 11 byes, we have the LA Rams and the Denver Broncos going on bye. Week 12, we have Kansas City and Arizona going on bye. So these are some big teams going on bye. 3 of these 4 teams are in the playoff picture easily. Denver is still very close to the playoff picture as well. So it's going to be a bit of a loss for the NFL to lose these 4 teams, you could say, over the next 2 weeks. But every team needs a bye. We still have byes coming up too. Anyways, this was a longer video than I was anticipating. There's just so much to say for the NFL. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a good rest of your day.